Hello, my name's Gav Cross, and I'm a storyteller. I also like to read stories, which I do live on Twitch on a Monday night, and then I post it here on YouTube. Tonight I'll be reading, content warning, there's a werewolf coming. Werewolf? Werewolf. Thank you, young Frankenstein. What a film. From the St. Michael book, again, of the 65 Great Tales of Horror. Once again, edited by Mary Danby. I'll be reading Someone in the Room by Elizabeth Fancett, and this is a cold reading. Settle in. Let me know what you think. She woke up, suddenly, sharply, in swift transition from deep sleep to full consciousness. It was her first night alone with her small son, Peter. That afternoon, her husband, Paul, had left her, the inevitable climax of months of endless bickerings, violent rows, and mutual bitterness. They parted in hate and terrible anger. She had not been able to sleep for hours, thinking about their violent quarrel over their son. Paul had threatened to take Peter with him, and at one stage she'd have thought he was going to take him by force, but he changed his mind at the last moment, storming out of the house in a blaze of hate and fury. Sleep had been heavy when it had finally come, but now she was wide awake, and she knew why she had woken. There was someone in the room. "Stay quiet," said her brain, insisting that her heart fight to still its panicked beating. The intruder must have forced an entrance through one of the downstairs windows, yet she thought she'd securely locked everything. She'd made sure of that, especially tonight, now that she and Peter were alone. But a burglar, if he were determined, if he'd had the time and was quiet enough, could gain an entry somewhere, no matter how many precautions one took. She lay perfectly still in an ache of dread and fear. She thought of her young son sleeping in the next room. What if the intruder had entered that way, through Peter's bedroom? Had he been harmed? She prayed not. But what if he should waken, come into her room? Her body remained rigid, her eyes wide open, staring into blackness about her. She could see nothing. The entire room was in total darkness. The heavy curtains having been pulled right over in order to shut out every chink of light. Yet she knew that a presence stood within the darkness, unmoving, silent in the blackness. A confusion of thoughts raced through her mind. Could it be a burglar? This was a very lonely place. A large and lonely house, even larger and lonelier now that she and Peter were alone. And there was plenty to steal, plenty to make a break-in well worthwhile, and some of her jewellery was here, in the bedroom. Did the intruder know that Paul had gone? That there was only herself and a small, defenceless boy to cope with? And surely a burglar didn't steal in total darkness, unless he knew exactly where to go and what to steal. Another possibility entered into her mind. Could the intruder be, could it possibly be, Paul himself? But if so, why? He'd come to steal from her, unlikely to punish her, perhaps, by scaring her. Yes, he was mad enough, angry enough to do just that. Then another, even more frightening possibility was suddenly in her mind. Had her husband come back to steal Peter? He'd threatened to take him away eventually, hadn't he? He'd stormed and raved. Peter would not remain with her for long, and he would come when she least expected it and take him away. That she would never in her life see her son again. No, she pushed away the thought. Not even Paul would do it like this, just to get even with her. Not this way, not this secret, frightening, terrifying way. No. It must be a burglar. And yet if it were, why the darkness? Why not some light? A torch, even a brief striking of a match, just to get his bearings. Maybe the intruder was waiting, listening for some sound or movement from her. before he dared put on the light. She closed her eyes quickly, lest at any moment a torch might suddenly break the darkness, and he would know she was awake. But the darkness remained, and the awful silence, not even the sound of breathing to tell her that anyone was there. But he was there. Someone was there, waiting, waiting. Wave upon wave of fear broke over her until her whole body was adrenched with it. What if she were attacked, killed, even? In mental anguish, she visualized the shock to her son when he found her in the morning. That is, if the intruder didn't kill him, too. If he hadn't already have killed him. No, she was creating terrors that might never come to pass. She tried to rationalize her thoughts. No one had any reason to kill her son, yet who was it? What was the intruder's intention? Why didn't he make a move? How long had she to lie there thinking, imagining, tearing at her mind for some solution as to who it was and why he was here? Think now, think, not who it is, but how to deal with him, what to do. She must do something, anything, rather than just lie here. She would waken, switch on the light, challenge him, meet the fear, see the danger. Her fingers ached to move towards the lamp beside the bed, but she remained still. There. That was a movement. Surely a footstep, a shuffling footstep. And breathing now. Soft breathing. Light breathing. Whoever it was moving now and towards her. Her heart was tight with terror, but her mind continued to work furiously, as though it were totally apart from her person, desperately thinking, wondering how to deal with the menace in the room. There was a light scraping noise, as if the intruder had knocked into something. That could be the chair. And the chair was but 2 feet away from the bed. For a further moment or two there was silence, as if the intruder was waiting to see if the slight noise had woken her. She willed herself to absolute stillness. Then a slight rustling broke the silence. She peered from beneath half-closed eyelids in the direction of the chair, hoping for some glimpse of the intruder, some inclination as to whom or what she had to deal with. There, just there. Her eyes, now more used to the darkness, saw a vague outline, a shadow in shadow, but a figure. Someone bending over her. The figure was motionless, as though listening for her, breathing, seeking assurance that she was still asleep. She closed her eyes tightly, started to breathe evenly, in a reassuring rhythm. But maybe, even now it was too late. Maybe he'd already seen her, eyes wide open, searching the darkness. God, what should she do? What could she do? Must she just lie there, waiting for the sudden light upon her face, waiting for attack? If only she had a weapon, any kind of weapon, but what? The nearest knife was in the kitchen. Scissors? There were only nail scissors. They were in the dressing table, too far away. Think now, think, the bookends. On the bedside table. They were heavy enough, but not near enough. One of the bedside lamps. That was it. The one on the left table had a heavy base. It could crack a man's skull. Wielded viciously enough, and fear would lend her strength. She would kill if she had to. Slowly, soundlessly, she stretched out her left arm across the bed and towards the table, trusting that the outline of her arm was not visible to eyes. Maybe now accustomed, as her own were, to the darkness, she reached blindly, groping inch by inch, conscious that any moment an attack could come before the weapon was in her hands. Careful now. Don't knock it over, and alert him that you are awake. The lamp was still beyond her grasp. She dared not move her body or stretch her arm any further. The lamp on the right table, maybe that was nearer. It wasn't quite as heavy, but it would do. Anything would do. Not daring to move her left arm, she still outstretched towards the left lamp. She reached out her right arm towards the other table. To her intense relief, her fingertips touched the lamp almost immediately. She pulled it slowly, carefully towards her. Her hand slid up to the top of the stand and grasped it firmly. In the same instant, fingers touched her left wrist. Instinctively, she raised her right arm and brought the lamp down with all the force of the raging terror within her. Even as her arm sliced an arc through the air, she heard the voice, and then the heavy weight of the lamp made its contact. The hand on her wrist slid away. She heard a moan, heard the chair creak and scrape back as someone who'd been standing on it. Someone small, someone softly breathing, crumpled and pitched forward onto the floor. She screamed in the darkness, her stricken mind still hearing the softly whispering voice as the lamp came down to kill. It had said, "Mummy." From 65 Great Tales of Horror. Someone in the Room by Elizabeth Fancett. Wow. Wow. Are you okay? I hope you're okay. I wonder. I do read this cold. And I'd skipped forward to read the end, but I hadn't quite realised how horrible it would be. If you have been affected by any of today's reading, it's not my fault. I didn't write it, I didn't collect it, I just read it to you. Leave a comment. I'll always reply. Thank you for your likes and subscriptions. Remember, I have a new channel, Tell Me Your Story, where I talk to creatives about what they do and how they do that. You can find that here on my YouTube. In the meantime, more live supernatural stories on Twitch on a Monday and plenty more here on this channel. Good night. Sleep tight.